Hey boys, welcome back to the channel where we're going to be previewing Game 1 of the State of Origin series. I've got to be honest, it's been a bit of a lackluster lead up, right? I mean, we've had some interviews, we've had a bit of this and that, and obviously a few shots. It's more like the media trying to push shots, like in the papers, like calling out Len Yu, and then of course like Billy Slater coming out saying no, there's no actual plan to target Len Yu and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. It's been a bit of a slack little lead up. It's been whatever, but obviously Origin, very exciting time, very nerve-wracking time. I mean, no matter how many years I watch footy, State of Origin is just the what's it called? It's the series that always gets the nerves going. I get so anxious watching State of Origin because I hate New South Wales with a passion. But let us preview. I was going to do videos before this. I just got busy. I didn't get a chance. So we'll go through the teams. We'll go through how I think we'll go. Obviously, I'll compare sort of the lineups to each other. I don't know what's going on here. Why is the Queensland side fucking raggedy? I mean, I sort of like that they got their jerseys, but why are the Blues have their Blues jerseys? The Queenslanders just have their fucking club jerseys. What's going on here? What's all that about? That's weird. But let's go through Kalen Ponga, Dylan Edwards. It's funny because I'd say like both of these fullbacks are not in great form. So it was sort of, if we're being honest, Ponga was always going to get selected. It would have been I was really hoping Walsh was, obviously I was hoping Walsh was fit for the whole season regardless, but I was very interested to see what Slater was going to do regarding Walsh versus Ponga. And I honestly have no idea who he would have picked. I know, I don't even know who you would say was in better form. I mean, Walsh was he was stinking it up. Like he wasn't playing much better. Kalen Ponga and the Knights have been fucking awful. So I don't know who he would have picked. I feel like he would have gone with Ponga and I personally would have gone with Ponga as well. I think, Ponga is not like a 20 carry type guy like a Tedesco, even an Edwards for that matter, but he's a bigger body. He's not going to get bullied as much as Walsh would. Obviously, Walsh, a bit more electric, can turn a game. I mean, Ponga can as well, but there's drawbacks to both. I think Ponga, though, just the bigger body, I think it probably, it does help in the Origin arena. I just think long kicks to Walsh, they could just bully him. They could just absolutely bully him out of the game. So it would have been interesting to see what they would have done, but I would have picked Ponga even with the bad form. I think he will turn up for this game. Dylan Edwards as well. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, he's been injured a bit. Penrith have been a bit shocking. They've looked good at times. They've looked poor at times. Edwards, he is the incumbent, and it seemed like the Blues had sort of dug their hole with. I mean, Tedesco. Well, I mean, I would say either Tedesco or Pappenhausen have been the form fullbacks. It seems like Pappy, he's one of those New South Walesmen that he's probably just never going to get a crack at the Origin arena, even though Pappenhausen, in his best form, is like he's a top fullback. He probably deserves a shot, but it's just the fact. I mean, New South Wales have a lot of gun fullbacks to choose, and Edwards, the incumbent, he hasn't done anything necessarily to get dropped. And I don't know, as a Queenslander, I don't know who I'd prefer. I gotta be honest, I think I still would rather have to face Edwards. I mean, Edwards has been very good. I just think Tedesco, he's wound back the clock this year. I not that last year he was necessarily poor, but I felt like last year, it felt like the speed was starting to dwindle. He was still getting the tackle bust, but I felt like his ball playing had dropped a little bit. But this year, I don't know, he's turned the corner. He's fucking come roaring back into form. So I gotta be honest, I think Tedesco probably deserved it, but he wasn't in their like initial squad at the start of the year, so they'd sort of boxed him out, and it would have probably looked a little silly if they had dropped Edwards for game one. So it makes sense, but we'll see. Obviously, Edwards still a very rock solid player. The wingers, so Xavier Coates, Brian To'o, Val Holmes, and Zachary Lomax. Very interesting. So the two absolute flyers under the high ball, Zach Lomax, Xavier Coates. I wonder if they are going to line up against each other. You would think, on paper, Val Holmes is pretty good in the air. Brian To'o, for his height, is actually pretty good in the air as well, but obviously compared to a Xavier Coates, he's going to get outmatched. It's going to be interesting to see if the Blues sort of just counteract Coates and put Lomax against Coates and just have a bit of a square off there. Val Holmes versus To'o in the air, it is what it is. I think they could both do a job, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like Queensland would obviously want to target Coates on To'o. It just, are Blues going to shuffle their back line to accommodate? And I don't know. I don't know how to line up, but obviously To'o, gun, Lomax is. It's hard to go past Lomax as the best winger in the comp. It just is. He's got the work rate, he's got the tackle busting. He's got the To'os about him with the ball carrying, and then he's got that aerial assault. And it's not so. It's the aerial assault, but it's also the fact he just puts in that extra yard to make a contest. There's a lot of wingers in the comp that are sensational under the high ball if they get a chance, but they just don't put in the hard yards to get there. Zach Lomax is one of those guys that does. Coates as well. So it could be a bit of an aerial assault depending what side of the field the wingers line up. But a couple of exciting ones there. I do like to see Holmes on the wing as well. I think he's been very good in centre, but he's a absolute fucking gun on the wing. So I'm excited there. The centres. So Rob Toya, the debutant from the Roosters, with Fido, and then Stephen Crichton, Latrell Mitchell. So a couple of big bodies for the Blues. Crichton, obviously, he's been sensational for the Dogs. He'll do a job. Latrell Mitchell, I think that it's going to be a big game for Latrell either or. He is going to either, really take this game on and do some bits of brilliance, or he could struggle. He came in. It was, the preseason fit Trell. He was fit. He was looking fine. And then, obviously, the injury setback. He came into the regular season, and I got to be honest, he hasn't looked as fit. I was excited to see him really lose sort of basically the baby fat, and get lean like he was at the Roosters. He's never going to be like he was when he came through at the Roosters. I get that, but I was excited to see a fit Latrell. And not to say he's been terrible. He's been in pretty good form, and this and that. He's put in some decent effort plays the last couple of weeks for the Rabbits. But playing in the centre, marking up. I don't know. I think he'll be up against Toya. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who they'll line up against. I think Toya probably goes up against Latrell. Hemiso, probably for Queensland, Hemiso against Latrell would be a good little matchup, just because, again, Latrell, very strong defensively, but if there's one weakness in his game, he isn't the most agile outside back. So getting a flyer on the outside could cause some damage. Rob Toya, big body. I gotta say, I'm happy they went with Rob Toya. I wouldn't have been disappointed if they went with a Dane Gagai, or I'm trying to think who else they could go with. There's a couple of options they could have gone with. But I gotta be honest, I'm pleased they've taken the punt on Toya. Now I've seen people talk about it's too early, and maybe it is. Maybe the occasion will get the best of him. Maybe he won't have his best game. But I think, one, he's obviously an insanely talented football player. He's shown glimpses this year with the Roosters. He's got that ability, the tackle busting. Also, big thing, big body. Big body can make those tough carries. I like having big outside backs, if I'm honest. Like, you need the big outside backs. You need the guys to go forward. That's where, I mean, the Blues have, like, really solid stuff with To'o and Lomax. Latrell, not necessarily a guy to take a bunch of carries. And then Stephen Crichton, also not a guy to necessarily take a lot of carries. But I like having Toya in the centres for those tough carries, because it does make or break the game at times. Just the getting over the advantage line, not having your forward pack having to keep retreating and stuff like that. So I like the big body aspect of Toya out there, and then just the big tick though for me is Rob Toya's defense. He has been extremely good defensively. He's had some really tough one-on-one matchups like the last few weeks. He's come up against some of the best. He came up against Latrell quite a few weeks ago, and I thought he did a sensational job. Like, he shut him down at all turns pretty much. And they really peppered him. I mean, Latrell definitely took it to him. So I think defensively, I think Toya deserves a shot. And I'm excited to see him go. I'm excited to see him have a red hot crack. So it should be an exciting backline for both teams. Obviously, Hammer, we know what he can do. I still think he's probably better in the centres than a fullback. So for Queensland, it makes sense. I mean, there was obviously the thought that if Ponga, and again, I always thought Ponga was going to get picked. There was a little talk that Hammer could get picked at fullback, but we're just lacking a few centres, so I couldn't see that happening. So Hammer in the centres, I think, is better regardless. The halves, so DCE, Cameron Munster. The old firm back together. I again, plenty of chatter, plenty of talk about DCE should be dropped. I don't buy that at all. I still think DCE is by far Queensland's, not by far best halfback, but I just think he's still playing great footy. I mean, you can see the Manly side without Daly just looked an absolute rabble. Like, he's had a couple of poor games this year. He hasn't been at his absolute best, but the long kicking game of Cherry Evans is great. He's solid enough defensively, I think. You'd probably say Dearden is probably the better defensive player, but I think Cherry Evans can do the job. And then just the attacking play, like he's just great at setting up plays. I think him and Munster work just exceptionally well. I would not have liked to have seen Tommy Dearden and Munster combo. I just don't like it. I don't think it would have worked. I think they're both out and out 5'8". I think Cherry Evans, as long as he's playing good footy, I would still have him in the Queensland jersey. I know a lot of people wanted him dropped, but he had to be there, and Munster, obviously, he had to be there. He's still, in my opinion, the best 5'8" in the game when he's fit, and he's looked pretty fit this year. He's looked healthy. Coming up against Mitch Moses, Nathan Cleary. Now, again, I saw, God, the amount of like fucking what's it called? Takes that I saw that were like Moses and Luai should be the halves pairing. I wanted to crash out. The amount of fucking, and it's fucking Supercoach creators that kept like bringing it up that Moses and Luai should be the halves pairing for New South Wales. It was like, what are you talking about? It was always going to be Cleary and Moses, and again, that is their best halves combo. Obviously, Moses and Luai did the job, but it's obviously Cleary is going to be the halfback, and I as a Queenslander, I'm very nervous having Moses at 5'8". Obviously, he is an out-and-out halfback now, but, I mean, surprisingly, it does always shock me that his defense is pretty damn good. Like, he's a small guy. You'd never think much of it, but he's actually pretty damn good defensively. And then the running game of Moses is one of his best attributes. So I think, as a Queenslander, the Cleary Moses pairing is very dangerous. And I don't think Luai has been in great... I mean, obviously playing for the Tigers, it's a bit harder to judge the form at times because they're a worse team, let's be real. But Luai has not been in great form this year. So it was always going to be Mitchell, Moses and Nathan Cleary if Moses was fit after the foot injury. And yeah, he's come back and he's looked 100%. He's looked very good since he's been back. So it's a dangerous halves pairing. But obviously the old firm of Queensland, they've been there before. They've done it before. So we'll see. Obviously, again, like New South Wales, it's a new halves pairing. So hopefully for our sake, it does take a bit to get into it. And, if they do lose game one, there's going to be a lot of chatter. There's going to be a lot of chatter about the halves, So that'd be good. And then there's more pressure on it. So Queensland, we need them to win game one. I need them to win game one. Okay, then we got the forward pack. So the forward pack, I'm a little bit perturbed with the forward pack. I'm not going to lie for Queensland. The starters, they all sort of pick themselves. Mo Fotuaika, he has been a bit under the radar this year. Again, playing for the Titans. The Titans have been fucking miserable. They've had some good games, but they've had many bad games. But Big Mo, he's been one of their best. He always puts in... I actually like the pick of Mo Fotuaika starting. Tino up front, a huge inclusion. Obviously missed all of last year. It's going to be a 9-day difference having Big Tino out there compared to last year not having him. So massive inclusion. And obviously Harry Grant, the dummy half. Thankfully he is fit and raring to go. Up against Mitch Barnett, Robson and Payne Haas. We know Payne Haas. He's the best prop in the game. I still think he is the best. Tarpany, pretty close, but Payne Haas, he clears. He does clear. He's the best. Barnett has been very, very good. He hasn't been as... Surprisingly, he hasn't been as dominant this year for the Warriors. I really thought he would be a little bit more... just dominant, because they'd lost Tohu Harris and Adam Finnell-Blake. I thought Barnett would he's been good. He's been very solid, but I feel like I don't know. I don't think he's playing as good as he did last year, but he definitely deserves the recall. And I think he's going to be a menace in the middle there. And then Reece Robson, again, you hear a lot of, oh my God, bro. Oh my sweet God. Again, the chatter. Api Coruscant he has one of the games of the season, right? He blitzes it against the Rabbitohs, scores a couple of beauties. Sensational performance by Api. And everyone's fucking yabbering on about Api should be the dummy half. Api's very good. But Robson, I feel like Robson is just so perfect for Origin, right? He gives good service from dummy half. He can run when he needs to, but it's more defensively. He's rock solid defensively. He leads the line speed. I think he's just perfect for the job, because the thing is with Origin, right, and this has sort of been the Blues problem for years. They've always had so many game breakers and players that do it by themselves and this and that. But you can't, if you got them all in one team, that's great, but you can only have so much footy, right? If every player is a guy that can break the game open, then who's getting the footy? I guess in turn, everyone becomes dangerous then, but in my opinion, it's you just want your dummy half to give good service to your halves, and then your halves can do the damage, and then your halves can give early service to your outside backs who are the best in the comp, right? You want good early footy to your players that are going to score tries. And obviously Api can score tries, but he is a bit of a lie. I've talked about this so many times that Api Coruscant, he's as tough as they come. He is good defensively. He does chop down some big players. He does make some great tackles, but at the end of the day, he is a very small body, and he's not necessarily getting players onto their back. He's not a guy that's driving players. He's a guy that chops players down, but legs tackles, let's be real, legs tackles are not good in the NRL now. It results in fucking high tackles with the second player coming in. It results in quick play the balls. So as much as Api Koroisau is a fantastic player, Robson just clears an Origin. I don't understand the problem here. Again, I don't think Robson has been in the best form of his career this year, but I think he's perfect for the Origin arena. You can disagree, that's fine. But I just think it just makes it tougher. It makes it tougher for Queensland to get out of their 20-metre line. Early kicks from New South Wales. Just the kick chase, the line speed. Robson's going to be leading it. So, yeah, I think he should have been there. Then the back row. So, Ruben Cotter starting. Nanai and Paddy Carrigan at lock. So I gotta say, I'm glad they picked Nanai. I think Nanai has been very, very good since finally getting back into the Cowboys team. I mean, it was a bit strange that he was dropped. I mean, sure, might have been defensive problems, but the Cowboys were a rabble for the first few weeks. Was it Nanai? Maybe. I don't know. But I think since Nanai's been back, I think he has been far more aggressive in defense, and he's always going to be a threat with ball in hand and under the high ball. So I think Nanai has really earned his spot back into this starting team, and I'm glad Billy Slater has picked him. Cotter, I gotta be honest, I don't understand why Cotter is in the back row. I think Cotter has been in... Again, he's probably going to, up his game in Origin. I'm not going to deny that. But I think, for one, he's been in, pretty poor form for the Cowboys. He has not impressed me much at all. And he's also playing out of position. I know he's done a good job in the back row plenty of times, but I just think there were other guys they could pick. Again, they're not blessed with New South Wales stocks at back row, unfortunately. They've got 100 they could choose from. But I think Jaden Sewer could have done a great job. I think Jaden Sewer's been in very good form this year. Aggressive, good ball runner. I think he probably deserved a spot over Cotter. And even Beau Fermor, who was on the bench, I think Fermor should have started in the back row instead of Cotter. But we'll see. I mean, at the end of the... Cotter, hopefully... just out there for his defensive capabilities early, and then potentially they bring Fermor on with a bit of leg speed later on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little taken back by him starting in the back row, but it's not the worst. And then obviously Carrigan is going to be the lock. The Blues, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, and Isaiah Yeo. So Isaiah Yeo picks himself, the captain. Angus Crichton, Angus Crichton, he has fallen off a bit of a cliff this year for the Roosters. He just hasn't. He can do this though, Angus Crichton. He can look like easily the best forward in the game by far. Defensively, attacking wise, he is just unstoppable. Goes to another level. 2 years ago when he sort of got back into the side and got back into the blue side, he was the best forward by a country mile in the back row. This year, I still think he deserved to get the spot because of, what he's done. And he also, don't get it twisted, he's not been terrible, but you haven't really noticed him. He hasn't really taken many games by the scruff of the neck. He hasn't had many attacking stats. He's missed a lot of tackle. He has not had his best season, but I do understand them going with him. And then Liam Martin, similar. Liam Martin is getting picked not just on name alone. He's been there, he's done the job. He's been sensational for them. And he's a guy, he's your Queensland type guy, the Queensland pick that just lifts in the big games. Again, I don't think he has been in such good form for Penrith, but he was going to get picked. He was always going to get picked, and I'm sure he'll be a fucking nightmare for us. He's going to piss me off. I know that. He's going to really piss me off come Wednesday night. But yeah, he was always going to get picked. But I do think both these back rowers have not been in the best form. But I'm sure they'll lift. Then the bench. So Tommy Dearden, 14, Lindsay Collins, Beau Fermor, and Trent Liero. So quite a bit to talk about here. So, 1, Tom Dearden. Kurt Mann should be the 14. 1000% Kurt Mann should be the fucking 14. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. I get that Dearden has been in good form. He's been good for Queensland before, but Kurt Mann just makes more sense as the 14. Like, Dearden can obviously cover the halves better than Kurt Mann can, but every other position I think Kurt Mann is much more suited to, and the only way Dearden's going to cover like a halves spot is if one of the halves gets injured. Now, I do think Dearden is going to come on. Is he going to come on and play dummy half? I mean, I guess so. I mean, Harry Grant, he hasn't often played 80 minutes, obviously, because of Ben Hunt being at 14. So Dearden probably comes on and plays dummy half, which, yeah, he can probably do a job. I'm like, Kurt Mann, I've always had a soft spot for Mann. I think he's been one of the most underrated footballers for many years. Even when he was back at the fucking Knights, he was fantastic for them. He covered so many positions when needed, did a great job, and he should be the 14. He should be the 14. Like, he can come on and play dummy half better than Dearden, defensively stronger. I think he's probably more natural at dummy half. Not the best dummy half going around, but I think he can do a better job. And then also, if there's no injuries to the halves, Mann can come on through the middle. He's got good ball playing ability. He's got a bit about him. And then I think at a pinch, like, he could go and cover in the centres if they really needed to. They probably already have cover for that with like a Fermor, but I don't know. I would have gone Mann. Again, I can't knock Dearden. I know I am pretty much for like 5 minutes, but I would have Mann. Lindsay Collins. Why the fuck is Lindsay Collins getting selected? Bro has been out like for age. Like, it was, I know, again, Collins, he does go to another level at Origin time. The old fucking cliche, right? But he hasn't been in good form for a long time. And it was like such a perfect opportunity for Slater to be like, he's played no football. He's been injured. It was such a great opportunity not to pick him. Like, there was no reason to pick him. You've got fucking Corey Horsburgh sitting on the pine, not even in the squad. Like, what? What are you talking about? How is Horsburgh not in over Lindsay Collins? That'll fucking do me. I don't understand it. Again, Horsburgh offers more versatility. He can play prop. He can play lock. He could probably play in the back row in a pinch, Horsburgh. He's done it before. Collins is an out-and-out prop. And honestly, he's not that fucking good. Like, he's just not that good. He gets bent back every run. Like, oh, I don't know. I'm disappointed with the Collins play, especially because it's, over Horsburgh. Beau Fermor definitely deserves a spot. I would have him starting over Cotter, but yeah, it is what it is. I think Fermor 100% deserves it. Offers great cover in the centres. He can do at a pinch. Back row, big body, good balls, good leg speed, great player, love it. And Trent Liero, the other very contentious one. I've got to be honest, I'm actually somewhat happy they've gone with Liero. I know all the talk when this was announced was that how is Liero picked over Horsburgh? For me, it was like, how the fuck is Collins over Horsburgh? I'm happy with Liero. I actually think Liero is a pretty underrated player as well. It was like one game in particular, the game against the Raiders, where he fucking had a shocker. Like, he gave away so many penalties with ball in hand. He did not have a good game, right? But I think he's been rock solid for the Storm. I think he does a very good job through the middle. He's not at Isaiah Yo levels, but I do think he definitely sort of replicates his game on Yo. I'd be surprised if he didn't say that he tries to play like Yo. He does give me those vibes. Like he's a big body. He's got decent ball playing. People always say he's error prone, but if you look at the stats, not really. Like he has the odd shocker, but I like the Liero play. It could come back to bite me if he comes on and has a fucking shocker. He could, but I like Trent Liero getting the nod. I think he deserves it. What do I say? I'm trying to think who else they could have picked anyway. Like I still think Horsburgh should get picked. Who else missed out? Obviously Gilbert out injured. That's a kick right there. Who else? I'm trying to think. I've gone blank. I know there's a couple of other decent options. But that's fine. I'm pretty happy with the Queensland side overall. I don't like Collins being there, and I also would have had Kurt Mann at 14, but that's fine. The Blues, so Connor Watson, the 14, makes sense. I mean, he is the best utility in the game. I was going to say, like, Kurt Mann is similar to Watson, and I do think he is. I think Connor Watson he is better, and he does offer a bit more spark at dummy half or playing lock. He's very dangerous, so I hate to see him there, but it makes sense. And this is also why, like, Robson makes way more sense than a Coruscant. You can have Watson that comes on for the attacking upside, so again, not to keep harping on the fucking Coruscant thing. Spencer Leniu at 15. A bit of contention about him as well. I've got... you know what? I get people being like, how is he picked? But he is a fucking menace. He is a menace when he's on for like 10 to 15, 20 minutes. And it sort of makes sense. Like, if you look at the Blues pack, right? Yo can play massive minutes. He could play 80. The back rowers could play 80. Payne Haas could play 80. He could play massive minutes. Barnett's a big minute forward. Their bench is a bench that probably should be like high impact, short burst. And I mean, Spencer Leniu, he is that to a fucking T. So... has he been in the best form this year? No, but he hasn't really... has he ever really been in, like, sensational form? Like, he's just that type of player that... yeah, he doesn't play massive minutes, so he's never going to really stand out and be like, I've got to get picked, like a fucking Terrell May, right? But I think Spencer, like, as a Queenslander, it makes me nervous, Spencer on the bench. You know he's going to rip and tear for those 10, 15 minutes, and... few tired bodies, he could cause some trouble. Obviously, he can give away a penalty, can come up with an error as well, which I'm hoping he does, but I think it makes sense. I do think the Leniu play makes sense with the forward pack they've got, just needing that high impact burst when he comes on. Hudson Young, he deserves a spot, but again, it's going to be interesting how they use Hudson Young. And this is the problem with the Blues, right? They have so many incredible back row options that they deserve to get picked, but it's like, where do you play them? Because Hudson Young is an out-and-out back rower. They haven't used him well in the past. I think he only played the one game, I think, obviously, where he had a bit of a shocker. I think that's the only game he played. They didn't use him well, right? I think he played through the middle, if I'm remembering. So I don't know. It's just a matter of how they use him, because he can be a game turner, but like, again, this is where it comes back to the Blues with their match winners. Is Hudson Young going to have the courage when he comes on the field in game 1 of Origin to crab across field? Like, are they going to let him play the way he plays at Canberra? I don't think so. He's not going to play like that. So... he deserves to get picked, but it is a tricky one of, like, how do you use a Hudson Young off the bench? And I know it might be like, oh, but you said Beau Fermor's a good pick. It makes more sense, because Fermor will come on for Cotter, and Cotter will play through the middle because Cotter's more of a middle anyway. So Queensland really, they only really have 2 back rowers. The rest are middle forwards, which I think is a better balance. The New South Wales team has more impact and probably, on face value, better players across the park or across the board, especially in the forward pack, you would say. But the structure does make a bit more sense. But we'll see. We'll see how they use him. And then Max King, what can you say? I think King's been good. He's been solid. I mean, come on. I mean, Terrell May should be there. Terrell May should be picked. I will say I do understand I understand the reasoning for not picking Terrell May, right? I actually understand them not going for Terrell May. And people can argue all they fucking want, but Terrell May isn't the most impactful front rower. He's a guy, watching that, and this is a great example, watching that game against the Bunnies, right? Kalamatangi, I think, bodied Terrell May. Now, they were both incredible. The stats were fucking unreal. But Kalamatangi was the better player. There's no fucking doubt in my mind. Kalamatangi made more of an impact at prop with his carries. Now, Terrell May, especially in the first half, if you watch that first half of footy, Terrell May didn't really do much at all. He was a bit of a tackle bot. He had a few carries, but didn't offer a whole lot attacking wise, right? But he is one of those guys that gets better the longer the game goes on. In the back quarter of the games, he does seem to run harder. Maybe it's because, players are getting fatigued and he has that motor on him, so he just goes and goes. The offloads come out, there's a bit more tackle busting, and he does look better. When he getting to a 60, 70 minute mark, being on the field, he looks the better player. But he's not going to play that way for the Blues. So he's not going to start over Barnett or Payne Haas. And the argument could be used that that's the way the Tigers need to play him. If he had to play 20, 30 minutes off the bench, he could obviously uptick that. But I still don't think he's the most... I still agree that he is not the most dynamic front rower, right? I think he's a pretty mean potatoes front rower. You can argue with me on that if you want, but I do agree. However, the thing I don't agree with is the players they picked ahead of him. I mean, Max King, I don't think Max King provides much. I don't think King provides any more impact than Terrell May could. Stefano, I think, potentially could, but I saying all that, I get the reasoning, but at the same time, Terrell May should be there. Come on. I know I just went off a big yarn about how I understand him not being there, but at the same time, he deserved the spot. He deserved the spot as the 17. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Max King is there. He'll do a solid enough job, I think. And the other one, so Kalamatangi also should be there, but I do understand Kalamatangi not getting picked, right? And people, again, are going to be like, he should have been picked. But it makes sense because Kalamatangi only played in the middle for 2 weeks, right? The whole... Before that, playing in the back row, he was bog average. I mean, he is really... And probably the halves aren't doing him much good either, but he's not knocking the door down at back row. His form in the back row 100% does not deserve to be in Origin, right? So that was him for the whole season. Obviously, the Blues, they're not going to pick their team solely based on one game, right? And, they'd already picked their team before that final game of the Bunnies-Tigers matched off anyway. So, as much as Kalamatangi was incredible, it makes sense why he wasn't in the side. But if he continues to play through the middle, oh boy, he should be on this bench 100%. He should be first picked because he obviously through the middle, he's so much better through the middle. He just is. He's so much better through the middle. But then he also has the versatility that he can go to the edge. He can obviously play through the edge. He's played that for years. So he would be the ultimate 17. But, I mean, it makes sense why he wasn't there because he only played in the middle and looked incredible for one game before they would have picked the team, and then he looked fucking godly in the second game, and everyone watching being like, how is he not selected? And it's like, they already made the fucking team before. Like, they can't, as much as you're like, oh, they got to just put him in, like, they weren't going to, so it makes sense. But yeah, it's I do worry. Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, it'll be interesting to see how they use Hudson Young and obviously Max King. I do think the bench does tell me Payne Haas and Barnett are going to play big minutes. Zai Yo going to play big minutes. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm obviously tipping Queensland. That would be blasphemy not to tip them, but I'm nervous. I'm always nervous. It's one of the most nerve-wracking experiences for any real footy fan. So, I don't know. It is going to be won and lost through the middle for sure. I think it will. The big inclusion of Tino. I do think our forward pack does look better than it did last year. Don't like Collins there, but I'm happy with the team overall with what we could go with. I like the Toya inclusion. Obviously, the backs for the Blues, dangerous, scary, but, you know, we'll see. I mean, I guess I didn't mention, but obviously Crichton has a bit of an injury concern. I mean, I guess Payne Haas does as well. I'm not going to lie, it'd be nice if Payne Haas was out, but Crichton, bit of a concern. I don't know. It seems like he will play. Like, there's always a bit of fucking smokes and mirrors in the lead up to Origin, so I wouldn't expect too much difference unless there's something really bad. So we'll see, but should be a great game. Let me know what you guys think. If there were any changes you would have made to the teams in the comments section, make sure to like and comments, and up the Queenslanders. Hopefully, we need to win game 1. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, see you guys in the next one.